Hi, I'm Sarah. It's been a journey. Everything has landed me right here, right now, and it's time to share. And for reasons that we'll uncover together, I've lived through abuse, addictions, homelessness, running a crazy business, raising a child as a single mom, multiple health crises, and even a trip on Con Air. But it all led me to the biggest transformation of my life that we are going to talk about because it just could be yours too. I get so much joy out of helping people, and that's my ultimate goal. I was told I was given a frequency that helps to heal, but also helps trigger people's karma too. So if you need a swift kick in the ass or just a whole lot of love, these sessions will help to activate you to be the best version possible of you. From spontaneous orgasms to giving birth on the couch at 50, I'll take you through my process step by step as we create the life of our dreams. So come along with me on this journey of ascension. You'll be glad you did, because wherever you are on your path and wherever you're going, you can get there from here. This is Sarafin Speaks. Okay, so it's time. It's time to push myself out of my comfort zone and put some content out there. I'm told it is time to stop consuming and start creating. So I've been trying to figure out my role with this endeavor of trying to share my experiences. I realize that my role is to fully and completely embody the quantum consciousness. I've been doing a crash course in quantum mechanics the last 24 hours, and I can safely say that the quantum nature in this vessel has been activated, and it's pretty neat. And I have been learning a lot, and it definitely involves the synchronicities. I need to find an editor because there's gonna be a lot of editing. Okay, so my role is to embody quantum consciousness so completely, and by doing that, it will naturally spark this frequency that others will be affected by. And we'll also be able to, they'll get activated and they will be able to do the same. And then when enough individuals are activated in the field, we've got a strength field and we've got a big beacon of light. Well, the point is we want to keep the web, the ripple, it's a lot more than butterfly effect, but on a massive level. But we want to keep that effect going. So this is the point of Sarafin Speaks, to tell you all of the crazy tales that I'm not supposed to label as crazy, that the whole point of all of this is to get us all used to all of these things that don't normally happen on the 3D in everyday life, and to get that normalized, to bring in our new paradigm, the age of Aquarius, the time for the divine feminine to rise. That's a little silly, but on a more serious note, back to quantum mechanics. Holy crap, I am mind blown. I had to get tutors for physics when I was going through school, but this kind of physics I am so intrigued by. And you've got people like Edgar Cayce and Carl Jung and reflecting on their bodies of work. It's just so amazing, the forward thinkers that have laid this groundwork and not having any kind of way to validate. Man, this process, you really have to be really steadfast in who you are. But I will say that the more I pour into myself, the more I am rewarded. And it sounds so counterintuitive, but the more I'm helping myself, the more I'm helping others. It's amazing. I love this. Yeah, I went on this little tangent last night. Oh, about wave and particle. What do we call those? Wave effects, wave states and particle states. Is that what we call these? Okay, so I started learning about wave and particle states. And the wave state is where you can access the quantum intelligence. And the particle state is the state that we live in most of the time on a 3D. It helps to pay bills, interact with other 3D unawakened individuals, I guess you could say. But once this activation happens, you start freaking out a little bit if you're not seeing all your signs that you're used to seeing, your 111s, and the person that you were just thinking about is calling you, and that's how you're living, and then all of a sudden it stops and like, oh my gosh. Well, so I learned that we oscillate back and forth. Once we have awoken, we oscillate back and forth between two states. Now, the ascendant masters, the yogis that meditate for hours and hours and hours a day, they want to all live in that wave state. And once you hit that level, perhaps that might be okay. But for us here working it out, we need to have a combination of both, be able to gently flow, swiftly, gracefully flow between one to the other and know when to use what state and actively be able to direct it. So that's the path I'm on right now, is to figure out how to actively manifest on demand and things like that. I will say that every day things are getting faster and faster and faster, and the manifestations are coming in quicker, quicker, quicker. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But yeah, and knowing how to define or discern what state you're in to begin with will help you to be able to act on or to know how to accomplish your goal. So, for example, some manifestations, you're going to need to be in the particle state. There are physical actions that have to be taken that you can't just sit back and wait for them to happen, which you absolutely can and should. That should be your main way to be. But when you need certain things to happen in a more timely fashion, then you've got to take some aligned action, and then you'll be in that particle state, taking the aligned action, listening for the pings, looking out for the tests, and then getting your manifestation. When you're in the wave state, though, wave state is completely detached. Reality reorganizes itself around you. And that is the flow state. And that's the state where all of your manifestations are landing. It's just that you can't, in that state, you can't demand anything. You can't force anything. Reality reorganizes around you. So once you start doing that and forcing manifestations to happen while you're in that state, that's when it all collapses and you get thrown back into particle state. So again, trying to figure out how to gently, well, actually, the big goal is ultimately to have both states living unified together within the self. So that's what I'm working on, is getting to that point and being able to have access to both. And that's the fully integrated, individuated individual. I'm sure there's many, many, many nuances. Well, I absolutely know that. Many nuances and lots of debatable subject matter in there, I think, or perhaps not, because this is all documented science. So that's pretty cool because I have a science mind and I always was of that mind. I need to see the evidence. I have to see the peer reviewed papers on that before I'm going to believe it. And I'm realizing in this world, that's absolutely um, not what you need to live by. You need to live by your doctrine. But it is so nice to be able to validate some of these things with science, especially for all the people that think that I'm crazy. It's nice to throw out little peer reviewed literature once in a while. But I know that all the truths that I speak, they all will come to light. And everyone will realize, oh yeah, that's why. That's why. Oh yeah, that's why. Oh yeah, that's why she did that. Oh yeah, that's why that happened. Oh yeah, that's why. I'm really looking forward to that. I cannot tell you all the scrutiny that I've been under throughout my whole life until I shut things down pretty early on and realized that I can't survive on the 3D being magical and special. And if I wanted to fit in anyway, which I did very much so want to fit in, and no matter how hard I tried to fit in, I always found myself being friends with the kids on the fringe, little neurodivergent. And then throughout my life, I always felt a special connection with people on the spectrum, and having ADHD myself, I guess I am neurodivergent. And so, yeah, I'm in that same category. So I guess that makes sense. And this life. But yeah, I always befriended those kids, but I always wanted to be popular. Well, it was such a, it was a troubling dichotomy. And if I had to do it over, gosh, I would be a lot nicer. School kids, it was hard. Kids can be so mean. But we worked through those wounds and realized why we were the way we were. Many, many, many stories. Good ones. Yeah. And I'd love to talk about all the synchronicities that I have been seeing, but I'm just hoping that everyone knows what I'm talking about and is experiencing this magic, because it is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. And all it wants you to do is acknowledge, because that reinforces that quantum nature. When you see those synchronicities, acknowledge them. And the universe wants you to do that. And again, that strengthens. And you don't actually have to actively build your quantum awareness. It has an automatic mechanism where it's going to keep expanding and expanding. And you might go through a couple of days of feeling like you've been benched and spirit, forgot about you. But that's not the case. It's just integration taking place. And I've been ebbing and flowing with that. Whenever I have a concern that I can't quite figure out, that I've been ruminating on for the day, or at least for some hours, the answer always appears for me with a message to help explain and get me to the next level. So I know that I'm tapped in, turned on, tuned in. Shout out to Abraham. And again, the more you acknowledge, the more they happen. Synchronicities, and I called them breadcrumbs, and you're following these breadcrumbs to actually get to your ultimate goal, your ultimate manifestation. Because you can get there from here. You absolutely can. It's one of my favorite things to think about. One of my now favorite sayings that my favorite witch says, from Witch and Scythe, she says, things are exactly as they should be. And it's so true. And it sounds so overly trite and so simple. But things are exactly as they should be. And when you think about that, it's so true. It's just beautiful. Even through the pain and the gunk and the trials and the tribulations, it's such a beautiful, beautiful connected system. Everything is connected. And when you start paying attention and tapping in to these breadcrumbs, these things, this magic happening around, your life starts to become even more magical and more magical and more magical. I kid you not. This is my world. And it's getting more amazing by the literal minute. Gotta bathe the nervous system. Bathe the nervous system in electrolytes and water. Yeah, and pouring into oneself, really looking at the self-care, the body movement, I like to do Pilates and yoga right now. It's gentle on the body. And then I will bust out some heavy weights. I've got some 20-pound weights. And I'll do some arm stuff just to keep my strength since I'm not working like a crazy person anymore. I'm noticing the body is not as responsive to being able to get away with not working out as much because I'm running around like a maniac. Yeah, that's not happening anymore. So, sister's got to pump some iron. Anyway, self care. Yes, Pilates, yoga for me, some heavyweight action interspersed. And it doesn't even have to be that much. I mean, 15, 20 minutes a few times a week seems to be a good maintenance for myself. And I'm seeing that it's just a nod in any direction, an acknowledgement. It's not such brutal push force, make it happen, hard pound on the body. It's flexible, it's flowing, it's softer, it's sculpted, but it's softer. Yeah, gentle, it flows. Yeah, and in that too, I've been finding the desire to eat lighter and have more fresh fruits and vegetables. And I never let myself have fruit for years and 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 years. Because once I figured out about carbohydrates, I starved myself ballet dancing because we were vegan. And in order to get protein, it was beans and rice. And that doesn't actually fare well for an O positive blood type ballerina. So I didn't eat very much for many years. And that's a whole other story. Oh, yeah. So when I realized that if I watched the carbs, that I could control my weight. I didn't really know about that till I think about 25, I want to say. But anyway, finding the desire to eat lighter and be able to eat all these beautiful fruits. Yeah. And I went through a little cleansing period. And then the spirit was like, oh, yeah, you like those ciders every night to calm down, huh? Well, you're done with that. You liking the stimulant to perk you up a little bit. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, you're done with that too. But I don't miss any of the things that I have had to leave behind, chosen to leave behind. I feel amazing just naturally. I never thought I'd see the day because I always considered myself a master alchemist. A little pinch of that, a little dab of that. Yeah, a splash. Yeah, whatever I needed to do to keep myself at steady state, whether energized or calmed down. I was a master. I was also living a very, very stressful, full life. So I didn't have time to be sick or tired or, yeah. So I developed some real fun habits with that as well. But yes, we have cleansed, we have gotten rid of, and naturally, just, yeah, I can never be told, you can't have this, you can't do that. That's just not, that's not how I thrive. I have to be the one that says, okay, yeah, I think we're done with that. And again, for me to be so at peace with things with all of my crutches gone is a miracle in and of itself. I tell you, gosh. Yeah. So nice little cleanse and self care, self care, self care, facials, massages. Yeah. And I don't have a formal job right now. And Walter and I's relationship is completely done. So I do need to figure out how to make money. Actually, I take that back. That was a particle collapse there. I, for the first time also in my life, feel so at ease and taken care of. And I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but it's not my job to know how. The universe has been providing, and I am told that I have opportunities that have landed that are waiting to present themselves. And I just need to keep doing my thing and spreading the good word, I'm told, is part of my thing. And everything is going to be great. And I started on that little tangent because, yeah, I know spending money on facials and massages and all when you don't have a job might seem a little irresponsible. And I tell you, the more I pour into me, the more I manifest. It's amazing. amazing. Yeah. And I finally realized anyway, that Walter was blocking me from really spreading my wings and flying. And it would have been so easy to stay in that situation, get my $4.4 million inheritance with my $12,000 a month coming in to live off of and a paid off house. And that would have been a very nice life. It would have been. I would have been so grateful, so happy, and felt so secure, which is really all I had ever wanted, or so I thought, was just security. But I realized that that was chump change in the whole scheme of things. We're not talking a few million. We're talking the whole caboodle. We're talking big scale here. And we can have it. We absolutely can have it. So I say, shoot high, freaking as high as you can. If you can think of how high, go bigger. Yeah, the sky literally is the limit. There's no limit. There is no limit. Think big. Think big. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And as soon as I closed that whole thing up, literally as soon as that last text went through after we had our talk in person, and I said, all right, I'm out. You're not going to be honest? Okay, I'm out. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, that story will be out there for everyone to see. That story has to do with how this whole process started for me and how it just finished this chapter and this new chapter that started. But literally after that last text of finality with Walter, I get a call. Yeah. And I had another heads up that a new soulmate would be coming in. Yeah. Get a call from a person that I hadn't talked to in a while and didn't really know that well. Guess what? He wants to take me out to dinner. And I think he might be that soulmate. And if he's not, then I better get my butt out there and start networking because I'm not running into too many people. Yeah, the universe has got my back. The universe is doing its thing. And I am so impressed. And I'm so grateful. Yeah, the gratitude is immense. And I talk to my spirit guides every day. I told them today how grateful I am for them and for their protection and for the ancestors' protection. And then I got a message, hey, if you have a question, just ask. Just ask. So now what I'm trying to do is to get clear on who's talking inside my head. Is it me? Or, just discern who's talking. So that's what I'm also working on. I did get some new frequencies, and these frequencies help you to get onto the right frequency of your spirit guide so that you can be able to communicate with them. So that's really freaking cool. Yeah. I'm really excited to work with that more. I've done it once, but again, I just need to discern what voice is what. And no, I'm not crazy. Well, that's debatable, but not in the clinical sense. Let's see. Yeah. Back to that particle and wave state. The big thing with that is recognizing that they are both equal. They're both important. And I did mention the Ascendant Masters and some people in the spiritual community, they all want to live in that wave state all the time. Well, who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? But you've got to be able to come back and be able to interact on the 3D. And that's the real, I call cracking the code of spirituality there, is if you could figure out how to live as a spiritual being on the 3D. That's what it's all about. and to bring in these gifts, to be able to use them to create the life of your dreams, to create the heaven on earth that we are wanting to live in. And well, at least I want to live in that. And I'm sure most people would agree. Yeah. So, working on that concept. And so I will keep touching base with that, with the wave and particle and how to be able to stay in both states and live your day-to-day life. So, yeah, that's going to be my focus for for the rest of my life, but for at least the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to be mindful, at least mindful of that, because once you start putting too much thought into any one thing that we're talking about here, it just disappears. It loses its magic. It collapses. So it's all about the surrender, and it's a fine line between aligned action and surrender. When I first tried to understand the concept before I was putting just these basic words to them, I kind of felt like it was like looking through squinted eyes. When you squint your eyes and you look and you can kind of see some nuances, more nuances in whatever you're looking at. That was how I was trying to live my spiritual life like that, if that makes any sense. Oh, there's so much. There's so much, and I'm so excited to share. But I need to start getting stuff out there instead of consuming research and journaling, and recording. Now it's time to figure out how to edit and just start sharing, because I want everyone to be able to feel the magic that I have been living, and I know that everyone can. Absolutely. Hope you have a beautiful day. I have so much love in my heart to share. And Sarafin spoke.